So hello, it's been a while. And as usual, I'm going to probably think as I talk. Because like I say, this channel is not for me to tell you, the listeners anything, not for me to try to educate anybody. But it's almost like I'm on a psychologist's couch, except I'm not paying the money to sit on their couch, $200 for every 30 minutes or whatever. So I like to click on, this with a black screen. Anybody can do that with their cell phone. Go to the camera part that says video. And if you have a YouTube channel, which most people do, if they have a YouTube type, the YouTube thumbnail, you have to join YouTube. And I just click on and just start talking. And that's just kind of my, it's almost like my therapy, because even if you have friends and family that you talk to, I don't really have a lot of people that I talk to, but I'm going to tell you something. It's kind of unfortunate because we see things all over social media where people seem to know what you know. But when you come across people in your real life, it seems like they're not on that page for some reason. And so even a lot of people who have family and friends that they talk to, they can't have these kind of conversations or those deep kind of conversations that might be in your mind. You know what I mean? And that's why I just do this right here, because you never know who could relate to what you're saying. Everybody don't respond. And some people just shy about responding. I'm like that when I listen to other people. I can agree with everything they say, but I don't necessarily respond on their page. And I'm not worried about who knows me, because my channel ain't that big for anybody to make a big deal off of me responding or commenting to somebody. So people with big channels, they don't respond because somebody know who they are. That's not the problem for me. Sometimes I just don't say anything, so I definitely get that too. But yeah, getting to it. What we're seeing, and I'm debating on what I'm going to title this, because as I'm recording this, obviously I have not put in the title yet. Okay. But I'll figure it out after I finish, hit stop record and have to upload it. Then I'll figure out what I want to be titled. But, as we know, we're in a time loop. Some people you can get out the time loop by raising your consciousness. That's what I think now. That's what I think. By raising your consciousness and keeping it like that, just being consistent, not every once in a while when you meditate. Now sometimes, we're a little bad. I'm going to tell you a way to raise your consciousness, because for me, it's not always being a good girl or good boy. It's not always about measuring on whether you're good or not, or what you watch or something like that. Oh, you watch this or you watch that. So I don't want to judge nobody on what they decide to look at. I think raising your consciousness is understanding and overstanding what really is going on. I think that's when your consciousness is high. It's not necessarily about whether you're good or bad and what you look at. Because if you're aware of what you're looking at and you are risen above it, then it might not get to you as much as somebody who don't really understand what's going on and they don't understand the magic behind it. Okay? But with that being said, we're in the time loop, right? I was looking at somebody on YouTube, right? And I'm going to say this. Something came to me to say, you best not really have anything to say about this person, which I don't have anything negative to say about it. But you know how you disagree, or just, with somebody and they, whatever they might say, you might have something extra to say. Because, you disagree, but what I had to realize is we all have our different personalities. We're all individuals. And especially in this type of system, there's a lot of different beliefs. There's a lot of different religions. Everybody's raised differently. You just can't expect nobody to say what you think they should say. But something came to me. First, the time loop came to me. And then because, and I heard somebody say this, but I knew when you keep getting deja vu, if you get deja vu or experience deja vu, that tells you that you're in a time loop. That's what that is. I heard somebody on their channel explain this. It's almost like you see a glimpse of yourself of what you were doing in the future, Or you could be doing something and you having deja vu, and then it just goes away in like a second. Because it's almost like this glimpse of yourself of what you're really doing in real time. And then you go back to kind of being behind, which is kind of where we are right now in this time loop. We're kind of behind. We're behind schedule. We're not really catching up with where we truly are. We're like, in my case, I was looking at somebody, and I'm going to go back to what I was saying. So it said to me, you best not just have any comment to say. And it's not because, it's wrong to have extra commentary on what somebody else is saying. There's nothing to do with no wrong or right. That voice came to me saying, you best just go on and listen and not have nothing to say. That came to me because, hey, what I'm looking at, which this lady posted like a few hours ago, is really something that I've already seen 30 years ago. Because we're in a time loop. I've already seen this. I've already seen it. So now I'm getting to the point of whatever I look at, I'm going to try not to have any 2 cents to say about it. Because I'm looking at something that I already saw 30 years ago. And 30 is like being behind in the time loop. You're criticizing, or might not be criticizing, but you're just having something to say about something that's over 30 years old because you're in the time loop. You kind of stuck in it. And you got to remember, we're consciousness. We have a soul with consciousness. But if our consciousness keep going further and further back, we just don't ever catch up. We get further taken into the hell realms. Okay, we keep getting further taken into hell realms. So that's what I'm saying. It's not being about being good or bad. How many people are stuck in a time loop and they never stole, don't curse, don't, have all this whatever you want to think is good and bad, because I don't necessarily always think cursing is bad. I think whatever is deemed good or bad according to this society is because of whatever principles this society decide to have. Because in other parts of the world, certain things are not offensive. Okay, so whatever is deemed good and bad is according to sometimes that particular society. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about just killing folks and just doing things like that, because then when you get to that part of it, just killing folks all nilly-willy, now you're messing with their soul contract. That's something, if people have soul contracts, okay, but you're messing with that soul's plan. You're messing with God's plan. I call that the soul, okay? I call that the soul. And so you're messing with that. Or whatever plans that something above that individual had for them. So then you get into some serious stuff. So I don't mean just when good and bad depends on that the particular area. I don't want to just talk about just, just anything. Okay. But yeah, it's a lot of what I was saying is that it's a lot of people that are so-called good according to their standards, according to what they were taught. They're so-called good, okay? But they're still stuck in this time loop, and they're still stuck in it going into further hell realms. And they're still saying the same thing over and over again that they already said 30 years ago, because they don't realize they're in the time loop, but they're good, right? They're good. It ain't got nothing to do with that. Higher consciousness is not necessarily about whether you're good or bad and all this behavior, because all that stuff is from an ego standpoint anyway. All that stuff is from a kind of an egoic type of standpoint, or a certain rules by society, But yeah, I just wanted to share that, the time loop. That most of what we're seeing, and they keep coming up with these stuff. I don't look at this stuff that's going on with celebrities. These things all of a sudden turn up. These court cases all of a sudden turn up. I've been seeing that. I've been hearing some people want to commentate on it. But like this thing with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, I keep seeing stuff coming back to back to back to keep distracting you. I just keep seeing it coming back to back to back. And so I have yet to look at this thing with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, because I'm already to the point where I'm catching on to the fact that something is trying to occupy your mind. Um, and a lot of this stuff that is going on, especially with these other court cases from these other celebrities that's going on, these cases could have been something that was filed a year to 2 years ago, and they want to bring it up in 2022 like it's something that just happened, and they get everybody all over the media talking about it as if it's something that just happened like last month, when it's something that happened 2 years ago or a year ago. But they want to bring it up in 2022 like it's something new. What is it with that? Because it's more than them trying to occupy your mind. Now they're going back in time. They're pulling up archives of stuff that happened between 1 to 5 years ago, and they bring it up like it's new. So what is the deal with that? Because it's about time. It's beyond them trying to keep you distracted. It's something going on with time, like they're manipulating time. And so when it comes to these celebrities and whatever they got going on, I don't even listen to them. Even like some of these guys that get killed, like this one guy, I guess, got killed by, a white woman. I don't know. Stabbed or something. I don't know. And I guess he has some Twitter tweets or whatever. And it kind of reminds me of the Twitter tweets that came with this other black guy that was with this Asian woman that was killed, and he said something about dark women bring dark days. And so when I heard somebody did a reading on him. Otherwise, I didn't really know anything about him. I just don't keep up with these stories anymore. But what I'm saying is that how long ago did this man get killed? If he's killed, how long ago did he get killed? Was it recently, or did he really just get killed like maybe a couple of years, 3 years ago, and they want to bring it up now? What are they doing with time? Because I know they're trying to close this time loop pretty soon. I don't know when they're going. I hope they haven't closed it already. They're trying to close this time loop pretty soon. Okay? And by them closing the time loop, they're going to take you. They're going to take your consciousness back further. And keep you locked into this time loop that they want you to stay in. Okay? And then you get down in further hell realms with all this craziness going on. Okay, so now I want to share a story, because I'm not going to upload a new video. There was a time I kept seeing myself inside this grocery store. And I've been seeing this stuff since, like, when I meditate or even have a slight dream. I kept seeing myself inside a grocery store. And so I want to express, now that's something that's happening. It might be having another timeline. I think it's because we're in a time loop, and I think my consciousness could have been in that doggone grocery store. That's why I don't believe in physical. Because if we're in a time loop and we're really ahead, then what's physical? So I don't really believe in physical, because I can't be here and there at the same. You know what I mean? That's why I don't really believe in physical. I believe we're in the physical rule set. And when your consciousness is under a physical, your conscious mind is under a physical rule set, that makes you feel like everything is physical. Sometimes that could be good for your sanity. You don't want everything to be zigzag unless your consciousness rise to the point where it's maintained. Like if you raise your consciousness, it needs to be maintained. Like one person said they saw the Matrix because they took some psychedelic drugs, and they saw the Matrix really break down. Like he said, he looked over at his friend's driving, and his friend looked like a bunch of clay. See what I'm saying? I've seen that before too during meditation. But see, you need to let that gradually come so it can be maintained, because if you take some psychedelic drugs trying to get there, it's going to come and go and come and go, and it's going to mess with your head. But yeah, I've seen where things start to look like virtual reality. I've seen where things start to look cartoony like it really is in the real world. It's cartoony. We have avatars like a video game. I've seen it when I kind of get out the matrix, when I break it a little bit during meditation. I see where things look cartoony. Sometimes I see where things are starting to depixelate, like pixels, Pixel. I see where things starting to depixelate. And I saw where sometimes a person can look like a clay. kind of thing, because that's kind of breaking the matrix, because that's what this really is. It's but it's best to meditate and let your consciousness rise to that state and let it maintain that state instead of messing with things where you up and down, up and down, up and down, up. You just end up a little schizophrenic like that. But and my consciousness is not always maintained to that state because I have to work, I have to do things, I have to, survive, and life happens. I'm going to just say that life happens. It's not always about working and paying the bill. Sometimes life happens too. You can have family because something happened to your family. Something could happen to distract you that don't always have to do with always working, but working is a big part of, and money and finance is a big part of why most people are distracted. It's a big part of why a lot of people are very corrupt. Money, okay? So that's just like, that's a big culprit. But and that's a big culprit in why some people cannot maintain that high level of consciousness all the time, because life happens and you get taken down sometimes. Even a person with the highest consciousness, if you still got family you dealing with, or if something happens to your finances, it happens, and then you get taken down some. But yeah, I just want to say that. So anybody, I don't care if it's Tasha K, I don't care if it's Lovely T. See, I don't want to call the lady's name out that I was looking at because I don't have anything to say about her. I just wanted to share an experience of when I was looking at this lady and I was listening to her talk. I'm going to say the spirit came to me, because couldn't nothing else. The spirit came to me, or a higher mind came to me and said, just look at it. Don't have anything to say. Don't have anything to add. Just look at it. And the reason why I said that, because it wasn't saying that's like to say, oh, stop criticizing folks. No, because I don't have no criticism for this lady. Because I understand that everybody can't be the same. So I don't have no criticism for this lady, right? What it was saying is that look at it. Because what you need to realize is that you've seen this 30 years ago. This is old. This person that's speaking does not know that she already said this 30 years ago. She does not understand that she's in a time loop. But you don't need to be responding and having all this commentary on something that happened 30 years ago. So I'm thinking about something. There was an explosion in 1986 that caused a time loop, and you can Google it anytime. It's all over. There was an explosion in 1986 that caused a time loop. 1986, 1996, 2006, that's 30 years. Okay. And then 2016 will be 40 years. But that's when that time loop first started, I think around that time, 1986. Yeah, not quite 40, but close to it though. But yeah. Yep. So yeah, so it's we've kind of been in some of us. Well, I think like I say, if you're experiencing deja vu, or not experiencing it right at this point, but just experiencing deja vu altogether, then that's a time loop. Oh, I didn't finish. Like I say, I click on this to say what's on my mind. I'm not trying to be professional, so I forgot to finish what I was saying about this grocery store. Okay, because now I'm just talking like I'm talking to somebody on the phone. I'm not trying to be professional, so somebody, that. I didn't finish what I was saying about that grocery store, and it's because I'm still kind of dealing with that. So I keep doing meditation sometimes, or even some slight dreams. I keep seeing It's kind of going away a little bit now. It's getting better because I'm understanding what's going on. Okay, my consciousness is starting to rise, and I understand why I keep seeing myself in this grocery store, because my consciousness, that's like more of a future. Like what we're seeing going on right now, they trying to empty these shelves. They trying to act like they don't have no more food to process. They're in the process of emptying, to me. Okay, these are my thoughts because of the visions. I keep seeing them in these grocery stores. Why you keep seeing yourself in grocery stores? It's not just me in grocery stores. It's other people in grocery stores. There's some FEMA stuff going on with that. Okay, that's some FEMA stuff going on. And I've been working on raising my consciousness out of that situation. Okay, get out of that situation. I think that's why they're messing with the food. They're going to put people in grocery stores. That's the FEMA camps. Just now, I don't want nobody to take that seriously. I don't want nobody to take that and run with it. That's something I think because of what I keep seeing. And that's not the only FEMA camp. I know Walmart is a big one. I know Walmart is a big one. I mean, I've already seen that. But our consciousness, people keep thinking it's coming and coming and coming, and then sometimes it don't come, and then the people that, oh, here it comes here. See, what happens if they mess around with this time loop again, then 30 years come around and you say, oh, here it comes here, because you won't even understand that this has already happened. And it's almost like they keep doing the same thing to you over and over again, and they're going to mess with your consciousness and take it further back, so you'll never know what's really happening. But I'm going to tell you something. I keep having visions of myself being inside of a store. I'm going to say I kept. And I'm like, why am I always inside of a grocery store? I'm not shopping. Let me make this clear. I'm not shopping. It's almost like I can't get out the doors. Okay, it's almost like I can't get out the doors. Like, and there's another group of people there. Like, okay, why are we always in this store? And that's when I understood why they probably going to try to take the food off the shelves, because they're going to put people up in there. But they already have. It's not that they're going to do it. They already have, because I saw when my consciousness was over there. They already have done it. But what we don't understand is we don't have physical bodies. Because I can't be here and then there at the same time if I just had a regular old physical, real physical body. So that just lets you know that we're really consciousness. And I kept seeing why I was in this grocery store, and it looked like I could not get out that door. I wasn't trying to open it. It was almost like I was just in there. I wasn't shopping for food. It's almost like food wasn't, it's like people are just in there. And so I've been doing stuff to work on, since I'm aware now that it's a possibility that I keep seeing this, because of the time loop got me thinking I'm in this situation, but really I'm over there locked in a grocery store somewhere. That's the actual future. That's part of where my consciousness is. That's actually kind of like in the future. And so, well, let me work on the consciousness now and do something and raise it up. Okay, raise it up some. But it's not what they're gonna do. Oh, they're gonna take off the food. No, this happened probably 20 years ago already. This probably happened 25 years ago. It's not what they're going to do. COVID is probably already happened 20 years ago. And we are reacting like this is something that's new. Because even if we know we're in a time loop, our conscious mind stays with whatever we think this reality is. Because reality is whatever your conscious mind is. Everybody's not in the same reality. Reality is wherever your consciousness is, honestly. That's what reality is. Because when I do meditation, I have another reality that's in the grocery store. But sometimes when I do meditation, I see myself somewhere else. But I did see it. I'm gonna say I did. I did see myself in this grocery store a lot. I did see myself in this grocery store quite a bit. you know. So, and that's, like I said, that is something that's already happened. That means that COVID already happened. They already took the food off the shelves, but because of the time loop, we're here experiencing this like it's something new. Because the time loop, our consciousness is we got to raise our consciousness. It's stuck in this time loop like everything is happening in real time. This is not real time. This is like Coming to America that came out in the 80s, and I keep watching it over and over and over again like it's something I ain't never seen before. That's what this is. It's like that movie called Troop Beverly Hills that came out in the 80s, I think. Or just think that movie Big with Tom Hanks. I'm just coming up with old movies that came out in the 80s to paint a bigger picture. Imagine keeping watch of whatever you like, because somebody might say, well, I don't like that movie. Whatever you might have watched, okay? Some people weren't born before the 80s or in the 80s. Some people might have been born in the 90s. But still, just imagine watching something and then you watch it again and don't realize that you've seen it. And then you watch it again a week later and don't realize you've seen it. And then you watch it a month later and you don't realize you already seen it. That is what this is. We don't realize we already had COVID maybe 20 years ago. This is something that keeps replaying. It's something that's replaying like it's a new movie. If you're aware of Coming to America or A Menace to Society, or I'm just trying to name something. Just imagine looking at these. Boys in the Hood is a big one that most people have seen, especially so-called black people in the United States of America. Okay, Boys in the Hood is a big one. Can you imagine? I think that came out in 1991, something like that. 1990, between 1990 and 1992. That's when that movie came out. Can you imagine looking at that movie right now in 2022? You'd be like, man, that was a good movie. Now, if you ain't never seen it, but you knew it came out in the 90s and you ain't never seen it, that's a different story. Okay, it's a lot of movies I ain't never seen that came out in the doggone 90s. I'm not talking about that. Okay, somebody might say, well, I haven't seen Boys in the Hood. I'm not talking about you, but you know it came out though. I'm not talking about like whatever what you never seen. What I'm saying is that you could have seen it 20 million times, but then you look at it in 2022 and like, man, that was a good movie. Oh, that was a good one. Because you cannot remember that you already seen it. You cannot remember. That is what we're going through right now with COVID and them taking this stuff off these shelves. And the reason why is because I kept seeing myself inside a grocery store as if it was some kind of detention type of camp. But then I'm seeing myself here. We've now dealing with COVID. This is something that's old. And I might have been taken in the grocery stores as a child, because in the 80s, I was a little girl. Or in the 90s, I was a teenager. Teenager to early 20s. Teenager to early 20s in the 90s. So I could have been, my consciousness, I could have already been taken over there, but because of the time loop, I think I'm here, but I'm really behind. So I got to really work hard on raising up my consciousness, get a higher consciousness, get into a higher mind, because I'm like, it's like you can't be satisfied with this time loop. I mean, I get that you might be enjoying life, well, I ain't even really enjoying life like that, but I'm just speaking on behalf of a lot of people that might really, really be enjoying their life. Okay, but if you're stuck in a time loop, you don't want that. You don't want your mind to constantly be trapped into their time loops, into these games. And that's why I don't pay attention to whatever's happening with these celebrities in their court cases. I really feel like it doesn't happen between some things that happened between 1 to 5 years ago, and they want to bring it like it's something new and have people focus on it. It's like they're playing these games with time. And that's why I don't really look at it, because I kind of see what they're doing. It's beyond them. Oh, they're trying to distract you because of what's happening with Ukraine, and they're trying to hide the fact that they're doing this stuff for Ukraine. Oh, no, it's bigger than that, because what happening with Ukraine and Russia probably happened 30 years ago too, or longer than that. No, it's bigger than that. They messing with time and they trying to trap your consciousness again because they're ready to close this loop. Now, maybe that's not the only thing they're doing, but I believe that's a part of it. It ain't just about, oh, they're trying to keep you distracted from what's happening with Russia. Here's my thing. I think about it now, people ain't gonna do nothing about it. So what if people don't get distracted and they hear some big stuff that people U.S. might be wanting to do for Ukraine, right? So what if people hear it? Because at the end of the day, from what I saw with COVID, ain't nobody gonna do nothing about it. If you would have found out today that the United States wanted to send Ukraine $300 billion and they gonna tell you they gonna take all your tax dollars because they need to give Ukraine $300 billion. And nobody's going to do it. They'll complain, but they can't do nothing about it because people are not in any kind of power. So I don't think they're distracting you like this to keep you from knowing the truth about maybe Ukraine, Russia, and all this other stuff going on. Because at the end of the day, I think they understand that nobody's going to do anything about it. Really, they're not. Okay? Nobody's going to do it. People put the truth. When COVID first came, it was so much truth that was put out there. It's not funny. And it got millions and millions of views before it was taken off. Did anybody do anything about it? No. Because at the end of the day, people want their freedom and they want to do whatever it takes to make sure they have their freedom. So even with all this truth, when COVID first, when our conscious mind believed, because that's I'm gonna talk like that from now on. When our conscious mind believed that COVID first started in 2020, and I'm not talking about, but they've been planning this since 2015. No, I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about we're in a time loop and this happened 30 years ago probably. Okay, so what I'm saying is our conscious mind is here, and we believe it first started in 2020, which I don't know what real year is anyway. Because of a time loop, not the Gregorian calendar, but because of the time loop, that is. But, we think that COVID first started in 2020. And we see during that time, you had the pandemic documentary put out. So many people, it was clips of farmers going out talking about how they were paid to destroy their crops. I definitely heard farmers we had to destroy our crops because of such and such. I heard under the grapevine, I heard through the grapevine that a lot of farmers were paid to destroy their crops. I heard that they were paid. Millions of people saw this. Did anybody do anything about that? No. So nobody's trying to distract you with all this stuff because they think you're going to do something about it. If you knew the truth, they know that people ain't going to do nothing about it. People just want to be free and do whatever they want to do. So ain't nobody going to do nothing. Ain't nobody going to bust a grape. Nobody's distracting you because of that. When I say you, I'm speaking in general, not the people who are listening. But nobody's distracting folks because they think somebody going to bust a grape, because they really ain't going to bust no grape. They're doing this because they're messing with time, because I noticed that it seems like these things already happened a year or more ago, and they bring it up like it's something that's new. They're messing with time. Okay? Anyway, that's all I got to say. That's the end of my therapy session. And I'll talk to you later.